Did you notice something? Not a single one had anything to do with you receiving something tangible from God. Nothing to do with money, nothing to do with family, nothing to do with any of that stuff. This is all about Christ. Friend, that's what the Bible is about. The scriptures is not about us. It's about Christ. Now, does it touch on some of those things? Of course it does. Do the Bible touch on how to have a faithful marriage, a successful marriage? Yes. But Paul makes it very clear, and so does God in the Old Testament, that marriage has nothing to do with you and your spouse, a man and a woman being married. Paul says, I am talking about Christ. And when God was talking about it, he was talking about his bride, Israel. Okay, so there's two married, you can say couples in the book. Only two. See, Adam and Eve is one. No, man, Adam and Eve isn't no one. They're a type. Adam and Eve and everybody else in the book are types and shadows. The two marriages in the book is God and Israel. Go read the book of Hosea, friend. God said, I'm married to Israel and I'm never going to divorce her. Okay? Why? Because Israel will always be a witness on the earth. I'm talking about now in the future. In the new world that we're going to inherit through Christ, God is going to have a physical earthly people who will be a witness to him. Then, in the new world, the believers, you and I, we're going to be the spiritual witness that God has. So God's going to have two sets of witnesses. And then he's going to include a third set. What is that? So you got the two human witnesses, and then you have the angels. One on earth, Israel, one in heaven, the church, one in the heavens. Who? The angels. Well, why in the world do he need the angels to be a witness? Well, I'll tell you why. Let's go to the big board. Now, I'll just point this out right quick, so you can follow me. I would do that, right? It does that every time I close or shut down the screen. You got to open it back up, and it reboots itself. So anyhow, it doesn't take long to do it, but I should have had it open, and I didn't. Apologies for that. All right, so let's talk about these witnesses. So God, what does God do? God is making witnesses. What's the point behind God making witnesses? Because he's revealing his attributes. He wants to reveal his attributes to his creation. And then he wants them to love him just for himself. So in order to do that, he needs witnesses. So that people in the future who won't be born until the new world exists, they won't be witnesses to any sin. They won't ever see it. They'll hear about it, but they won't witness none of that stuff. So God is going to be telling them, hey, I'm a merciful God. And they're going to look around and say, well, everybody's perfect. Why you need to have mercy? And what in the world is that anyway? And God's going to call you as a believer over and say, hey, tell them about me being merciful. And you're going to be able to do it. Why? Because you're a witness. You went through it. God did show you mercy. All right, anyway. So God has three witnesses. One, he has the angels. So what will the angels be witness to? They're going to be witness to physical creation. Say physical creation? Yes. The angels was there, present, when God created the earth. So how do you know that? Because the book of Job tells us that they were there. The book of Job tells us that God had already created two parts of creation before the angels were created. What was that? Heaven and the heavens. Okay? They were already created. So the angels did not see that part of it. They just appeared in the heavens and God told them he was the creator. And they probably looked at him and said, okay. Right. And they say, hey, where did we come from? He said, I created you. And they look at each other and go, yeah, right. So God proved it to him. How did he prove it? He said in the book of Job, the angels watched him speak the earth. And when he says the earth, the sun, the moon, all the things you see listed in Genesis chapter 1. The angels watched God. And in the book of Job, they said they celebrated and leapt for joy. So they're going to be the witnesses throughout all eternity of the physical creation of the earth. Now, can you and I be a witness to that? No, we wouldn't there. There wasn't a human around. The earth was already spoken into existence before God made us. He made us on the last day, on the 6th day. So can any human, Adam, Eve, anybody else, be a witness for God for the physical creation? Nope. But the angels can, and the angels will. All right. 2, you have Israel. What will Israel be? They're going to be a witness that God, what God, a nation look like, whose God is the Lord. That's what they're going to be a witness to all the nations in the new heaven and, well, the new earth. They're going to be a witness to what a nation truly look like. And they should be a witness today. And they will be a witness during the millennium. Israel will be a witness of a nation who served the Lord. Then you have finally the church. Or should I say all believers, because it's more than everybody, every believer is going to end up being one. The book of Ephesians says all the believers, Old Testament, under the law, and then in the church, during the tribulation, not those that come out of the millennium because they're just going to go straight in and they're going to have their physical bodies. They'll be different than us. So anyhow, all the believers who are going to end up in the New Jerusalem with a spiritual body, every single one of us are going to be God's witnesses. We're going to be God's witnesses of his grace, of God's mercy, that God love, and God's hope. I mean, on and on and on. We're going to be witnesses to God throughout all eternity concerning those things. So those are the 3 witnesses that God is gathering out of the world today. He has, that's why the Bible calls the holy angels elect angels. What are they elected to do? To be a witness. Israel, my elect. Who said that? That's all over the Bible. And all in the New Testament, God calls the believers elect. So who's going around choosing believers? God's choosing angels. He's already chosen them. God chose a nation. He already chosen her. And God is going around choosing believers. Some may not like that, but that's exactly what's happening according to the book. Anyhow, let's go back.